it's Karen here and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the second video in the listening practice series, and if you haven't watched the first video then I suggest you watch that one first, and I will put a link somewhere. Now, a lot of people have said to me that they can't understand native English speakers, whether it be on TV or in the movies or in real life. So I decided to create this series to help you, to give you some more listening practice and to also help you better understand English that's used in real life. So what we're going to do in this series is I'm going to take a very short audio clip and I'm going to ask you to listen to it a few times, and then I'll play it again a few times at a slower speed, and then I'm going to ask you to write down what you hear, and we can then check your answer at the end of the video. Now, today's audio is another Australian speaker, and I think his accent is a little harder to understand than last week's video, which is partly why I chose this audio to give you guys a bit more of a challenge. Now, in this audio, he's talking about Chris Hemsworth, and if you've watched the Marvel series, Chris plays Thor. I mentioned Chris Hemsworth in one of my examples in last week's video, so I thought it would be good to continue talking about Chris in this video. Now, Chris is Australian, and before he went to Hollywood, he was in this TV series in Australia called Home and Away. Now, everyone in Australia, almost everyone in Australia, knows Home and Away. It's a very well-known TV series in the country. Now, Home and Away is set in a fictitious town, fictitious meaning not real. But I'm not going to give you the name of this town because it's actually part of today's answer. So I've given you a clue that there is a place name in today's answer. So I want you to listen out for it. It's not a hard name, so I hope you get it in today's audio. Okay, so do you have your pen and paper ready? We'll listen to it a few times now. Okay, let's go.
A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight.
And one last time at normal speed.
A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight.
How was it? I'm sure you did well, but just in case you missed a few words, let's listen to it a few times at a slower speed.
A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight. A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight.
Okay, so hopefully you got all the words now. So let's have a look at the answer. A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight. Now let's talk about how we say this sentence. A Hollywood superstar. A Hollywood superstar. Now the word superstar, our American friends tend to say something that's closer to superstar, superstar. And our British friends tend to say something that's closer to superstar, superstar. The Americans tend to say the letter R much more strongly than the British or the Australians. So when they say this word, you'll probably hear the letter R much more strongly and much more clearly. So a Hollywood superstar is paying a visit, is paying a visit. Now, if you remember from last week's video, I mentioned that when we have a word that begins with a vowel, and in this case, the word is, which begins with the letter I, what we tend to do is combine the sound from the previous word with this word. So it ends up being superstar is, superstar is. But in this particular case, we want to focus on the Hollywood superstar. So what we actually do is we pause between the word superstar and is. So it ends up being more like a Hollywood superstar is paying a visit, is paying a visit. So this combining of sounds is actually in the next part because we have another vowel. The word a is a vowel and is a word in itself. So what we do here is we actually join the sound from the previous word with this word. So it ends up being paying, paying, paying a visit, paying a visit. Now the next bit, we have two T's. So when we have two sounds that are either the same or similar, what we tend to do is actually drop the first T, or it's really, really quiet. And again, we join the two words to make one long word. So it then ends up being visit to, visit to, visit to Summer Bay, visit to Summer Bay. Now, Summer Bay is the place name in today's audio. Did you hear it? Did you hear it in today's audio? I hope so, because now you know that Home and Away is set in Summer Bay. Now, Summer Bay, summer. Our lovely American friends will tend to say something that sounds like summer. Summer. So Summer Bay. Summer Bay. Sorry, my American friends. I just don't do accents very well. I just apologize to everybody. My accents are just terrible. And our British friends will tend to say something like summer, summer, which is closer to how I would say it. So it's Summer Bay, Summer Bay. So paying a visit to Summer Bay, paying a visit to Summer Bay. When are we paying a visit, or when is Chris Hemsworth paying a visit to Summer Bay? Tonight. Tonight. Now, similar to the word today, which we talked about in last week's video, we don't tend to say tonight. We tend to shorten the sound to t. T. So it ends up being more like tonight, tonight. Actually, I forgot to say that in similar vein, we don't actually say to, it's actually t. Again, it's very short and it just gets combined with the next word, to Summer Bay, to Summer Bay. So the whole sentence again. A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight. A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight. Now let's talk about some of the words that are used in this sentence. So firstly, superstar. So superstar is even bigger than a star. So in this case, it's Chris Hemsworth, who is a Hollywood superstar. So an extremely famous actor or musician, singer or sports person. Now, I'd like you to tell me in the comments, who is a famous superstar in your country? Let me know. Be interested to find out around the world. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about was the idiom to pay someone a visit or to pay a visit to someone, which basically means to go somewhere to visit someone. So, for example, I can say, oh, my friend just had a baby, so I'd like to pay her a visit to see how she is and to see how the baby is. Another example is I live in Hong Kong, and so our office is in Hong Kong, but we also have an office in Shanghai. And next week I'll be going to Shanghai, so I'd like to pay a visit to our Shanghai office while I'm there. Now, after having given you these examples, I actually personally don't use this idiom very much. I tend to just say, I'm going to go visit my friend who just had a baby, or I'll be in Shanghai next week. I'm going to go visit our Shanghai office while I'm there. But people still do say this, as you heard in today's audio. So I think it's still important that you know this idiom, because you will hear it from time to time. A Hollywood superstar is paying a visit to Summer Bay tonight. So that's it for today's listening practice. I hope you enjoyed it, and I promise next week I will choose an audio clip that's not from Australia. I will probably choose one from the UK, but we'll see what I can find. But in the meantime, let me know what you thought of today's audio. Was it harder or easier than last week's? And also don't forget to tell me the name of a superstar in your country. I'd be interested to know. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, then please press the subscribe button and also the bell so that you'll know when I have a new video out for you. All right, thank you for watching today's video, guys. Keep practicing, and I shall see you next time. Bye.